Lincoln Square. I am absolutely delighted today to be joined by Representative Jasmine Crockett, 6th District of the great state of Texas. She has become a rock star on Capitol Hill and beyond for speaking truth to power, for speaking as people speak in the real world and not in the sort of stilted Washington, my honorable colleagues stuff that really I think most Americans sort of are disconnected with and kind of distrust. So, Representative Crockett, I want to thank you so much for coming on the show today. And I wanted to launch out on this by getting down to the business that's in front of Congress right now. We've got a real budget train wreck ahead of us with the big, beautiful bill. It's turning into a big, ugly mess right now. Mostly because even the Republicans seem to be realizing that massive cuts to Medicare and Medicaid are a bad idea and not popular, and also a disaster, and also a flaming clown car. So talk to us about where you see the state of play right now, and then I want to talk to you about like how those cuts would drill down and affect your district in particular. And I'm sorry, I said the 6th district. I meant to say the 30th. That is my fault.
I know you did. I was thinking Jake Elsie is not going to be happy about this. No, it's all good. It's great to see you, Rick. And listen, it's what we've been talking about for probably since January, right?
Mm-hmm.
We've been talking about the fact that they were trying to figure out how it was that they were going to fund these massive tax cuts that they are trying to make for the Elon Musk of the world, right? Like this is what they were trying to do. And so the only way that you could fund it is by saying, you know what? So that Elon can go out and have another baby mama that he's not going to take care. Anyway, whole other issue. But you know, it's like Elon needs more money for why, right? At the same time as, you know, I broke down the numbers specifically for children only in our DOGE subcommittee hearing that we just had last week. I broke down the numbers for each and every Republican member on that subcommittee.
Right.
And it was Marjorie Taylor Greene's district, where it was going to be 111,000 children that are potentially at risk for losing their health care. That's just the children. That's not talking about the adults. Right. And thank goodness for the House Budget Democrats, led by my good friend Brendan Boyle out of Pennsylvania. They have actually put up a website where everyone can go and see exactly in my district, what does this mean as it relates to how many people are going to be impacted by the SNAP cuts? How many people are going to be impacted by the Medicaid cuts? You can see that. And so I encourage people to go so that you can find out what's going to happen in your district. I would say in my district, I don't recall the specific numbers. I was in 70 something thousand people. I don't remember if that was kiddos or adults specifically as relates to Medicaid. But I can tell you nothing about it is good. And I can tell you that you can't tell me that you love this country or that you are trying to make this country safe or great when you fail to invest in our future. And our future is our children. And so if our children cannot be healthy, if our children may not be able to have food on the table so that they can learn and get their education, then you can't tell me that you want to make this country great, because half my life has already passed me by. Greatness is about what we do for those coming behind us, not what we do for the 1%ers.
I think that's so right. And I think that this idea that they're going to give this $4 trillion tax cut to Elon and Mark Zuckerberg and Larry Ellison and a few other people at the cost of this, and you know, it's probably a pretty rare day when you and me and Steve Bannon are on the same page. But Steve Bannon even said, if they do this, they're going to really hurt a lot of red state, red district voters. They're going to hurt a lot of MAGA voters by doing this.
Yep. Yeah, I mean, when we look at the numbers, it's one of the reasons I brought up Marjorie's district. It is these Republican districts. When we looked at just the children that would be impacted by those Republicans, it was over 600,000 children combined. And we were wasting our time on having a nonsensical hearing that had nothing to do with the Department of Government efficiency whatsoever. So I tell you that I consistently remind my colleagues that this isn't just a fight for my constituents. I'm actually fighting harder for theirs than they are. And that is the unfortunate part. But that is what's so great about us finally getting out and deciding that we're going to engage in conversation with people that aren't necessarily just our constituents. It is why I applaud those that are going out and going into some of these very traditional red areas and explaining to them that when these hospitals end up shutting down, let's make sure you know who it is to blame. As it relates to like farmers that have talked about the harm that they have struggled with as they decided to cut
Right.
USAID. You know, like we need to tell these stories. We need them to understand that they are getting rid of those that work in forestry, right? Like how many of our rural areas are needing those to actually work forestry, to actually make money, or
Mhm.
just make sure that they are keeping their communities safe by making sure that we don't have the wildfires like what we've seen in California. And so I think that we've got a great opportunity to really focus on what brings us together. And the reality is that we are all on this same ship that is sinking. And the only people that have been given their little raft to get off the Titanic right now, it seems like, are the Elons and
Right.
the Mark Zuckerbergs and the Jeff Bezos, while the rest of us, we going down.
So, one thing I think people have really noticed in the last few weeks is this trade war idea is hitting us right in the economy exactly at the wrong moment. There's already a lot of uncertainty out there. We've got this tax bill that was promised to have several things in it that do not appear in the current version. The tax on tips, tax on Social
Yeah,
Security, all
lie,
those things that he made a big
lie,
deal out of.
lie.
Where'd those go?
I don't. Why do people believe Donald Trump? That's my only question. In fact, no, no, no. This is actually what is more confounding for me.
Sure.
Isn't that people believe him? It's that he can even tell you the stupid things he's gonna do, and then people are like, oh, we he don't mean that. Like they
All right,
won't
listen.
even believe him when he is telling the truth. Because I got to give it to the guy. I mean, he ran on tariffs. Now, people may not have understood what that meant, but he absolutely did at least run on
100%.
tariffs. And people are like, oh, no, okay. We told you that the tariffs were not going to be paid for by, say, China, that it would be you that would pay. And he's like, no, 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 did China going to pay the tariffs? Like he said that like Mexico was going to build the wall. We still waiting. That was the
Still
first time.
waiting for that check.
Still waiting on Mexico to build the wall, right? Like seriously, like why do people listen to him? I don't get it. Listen, the only fake news that we have is what comes out of the White House.
I think it's like the volcano of fake news.
Yeah.
So, you have been a real fighter to try to get, I think, um, front and center some of the absurdity of the Republican things they do in the House with Marjorie Taylor Greene and other people like that. But I think it means, and I'm curious about your thoughts on this. It strikes me that you're doing this sort of, you've got a great edge and a great bit of humor about it, but it also tells an important story and reveals a lot about who these people really are and why they're not representing their district. They're representing Trump. And so I wanted to like, what was your inspiration to like get out and get in the fight in that particular lane? Because I think it's so valuable.
Yeah, I'm not really good at sitting on the sidelines and just letting people punch me.
Same.
And be so happy about how smart I am, right? Like, yes, if you want to go and look at the type of legislation that I file,
Hmm.
if you want to go and look at amendments that maybe we've been able to get through on various
Right.
bills, like those types of people, they will go, they will find it, they will go to my official webpage, they will see the type of bills that I'm fighting, they will find that, right?
Right.
But when you look at the more educated electorate, and when I say educated, I'm not even talking about like your degrees, but like literally people that decided to educate
Yeah.
themselves
Engaged.
about the
Right. Right.
issues and the election, they went the right way. They went the way
Hmm.
that, wouldn't have had us here, right?
Right.
And so the question is, how do you break through to people that literally don't have the time because they are living check to check, because they are trying to figure out like how it is that they can move up in the world, like the people that are literally just trying to survive, or even those that are trying to get to a place of survival, right? Like you
Hmm.
got to be able
Hmm.
to break through and communicate with them too, because we are all again on this same ship that is currently going down. And so it can't just be, oh, well, we told you so. It has to be that we do better and that we are able to communicate. And so for me, it's about keep it simple, stupid, right? Like, I mean, that's what it is. Like, keep it simple, number one, so that when people are like moving about their lives and their
Right.
days, that they can still understand what's going on, because they don't have all day to sit there and watch CNN and MSNBC or whatever it is that they
That's right.
watch. You know what I mean? So that's part of it. The other part of it is that I am a trained like fighter. I mean, as an actual trial lawyer, I'm not really good with losing. Like I'm competitive. And especially when I know I'm right, like I want to prove my point, right? So that's why you see me go in and I don't just let you say whatever to me. No, I'm going to come back. I am going to say what the truth is, and I'm going to back it up, and I'm going to put a little spice on it just so that you feel it, right? Like just so you can feel it, and hopefully teach you a lesson about trying to come for me.
I think that is one of those things that is so valuable because the culture of Congress, and I've been 61 years old. I've been around this process my entire adult life. It used to be that I think a lot of these MAGA Republicans got away with the idea of I can punch the Democrats and run away. I can get in their face, I can get in there, you know what, and they're not going to do anything. And I think it really has surprised a lot of them that you are going to go in there as a real combatant. You're not going to screw around and go, oh, well, that was how outrageous. You should be ashamed. Instead, you're going to go right back at them.
Yeah.
And I wonder how you hear from some Republicans, because I still talk to a few Republicans in the House and a few in the Senate, and they can't stand Marjorie Taylor Greene either.
Nope.
They can't stand the crazies either. And I'm curious how often you get a Republican whisper in your ear like, thank you for that.
Oh yeah, like I remember, which we just hit the 1 year anniversary of the bleach blonde situation. Yes, the anniversary. We should have had an anniversary T-shirt.
You know, if I had known that, I would have thrown a party, man. Because I have to tell you, that clip probably got played in our household about 100 times, and it kept getting better.
Yeah, the views are still going. The songs are still going. We need to have an anniversary situation. But anyway, I will tell you that when that happened, there were men and women from the Republican side that came up to me and they were making little jokes. They're like, listen, I love your lashes. I ain't got nothing to say about your lashes. And, there was a high five here or there on the issue. And, what I do find is that what I would consider to be a traditional Republican, someone where our policies may not necessarily fully align, but they are really grounded in their beliefs of what it is that the traditional Republican Party stands for.
Right.
They absolutely seemingly have no problems with me. They, see the crazy, and if they could publicly do something to them, they would. And so, they respect my gangster, so to speak.
Well, hey, you know what? It is something though that I feel like you have liberated yourself in a lot of ways as a member and as a leader. Do you wish more of your Democratic colleagues would follow along in that sort of model? I mean, because I think there are a few that are starting to step out more. And as you mentioned earlier, the ones that are going to do these town hall meetings in these red districts, I think that is absolutely great leadership in action that cuts through a lot of the BS and the fog on the MAGA media machine. Do you wish more of your colleagues were out there swinging as hard as you do?
I think that I wish every colleague felt comfortable in fighting in their own way, because I can't imagine like people clapping back and doing the things that I do necessarily the way that I do it, right?
So I like you're a separate layer of talent here.
So I don't necessarily see that, but I would hope that my colleagues feel comfortable in their own skin, in their authentic skin, that skin that sometimes may end up saying something that is off color. If that's how they honestly feel.
Sure.
I don't think that people should do things trying to chase a moment. I think that one of the reasons, I remember there was someone that was doing an article about how viral I was going last term. And, she was like, I'm curious, like, do you plan this? Do you know this? And I was like, no, like, there is no sauce. I said, if I had to say that there was like a special sauce to doing this, then it would be more so grounded in this idea of having real emotions and being honestly connected to the issue. Like when I get frustrated or upset, or I think something stupid's happened, like you are feeling it, you're seeing it. I mean, my face can't hide it, and I say what I have to say. And I know that there are those, especially when it comes to the Black community, that have felt like when they walk into certain rooms, if they don't speak a certain way, then they somehow will be ostracized or that they will be seen as less than. And I think that I have empowered a lot of people to be okay in their skin in general, whether it's my colleagues or otherwise, because I know what my credentials are, just like they do.
Right.
And so, regardless of how I say it or whatever I say, you can't take away like and now I got 3 honorary doctorates on top of every. I got more honorary doctorates than the president. I got more degrees that I sat and earned as well than the president. So no, I'm gonna say what I'm gonna say. I'm gonna say it the way that I'm gonna say it, and I'm not gonna feel a way about it because literally y'all let a 34 count convicted felon into the White House, and frankly, he was given all of the opportunities that I never was born with. He was the one that was given a leg up because he was born into money. That wasn't my story. I'm the first lawyer in my family. I'm the first politician in my family. Like, I didn't have people that were pulling me along. So I think that we should all feel comfortable, especially on our Democratic side, because a lot of the people on my side of the aisle have very real stories that honestly real people can relate to. And I think that it's just about being okay with who you are in your skin at all times, regardless of the titles that we carry.
I think that's a really good way to look at this, and I think your authenticity has been something that people. I think it's hard to emulate what you do because most people don't have that mental agility to play that game as quickly as you do on the in hearings and on the floor and in other interactions. But I do think that's right. If people have, they've got to find a way to tell their stories and find a way to get people to understand who they are as leaders, as Democrats, as folks that are in this big fight, in this moment of like corruption and shittiness and all the awful like monstrosity things that are going on and the abuse of power in Washington. And that's one of the things I wanted to ask you about. So you've got now Mike Johnson today out defending the flying brothel in the sky, the super plane, whatever. And yet you've got other Republicans who want to throw Democrats off their committees. From the Democrats from New Jersey, they want to throw them off their committees because they went to exercise oversight in the midst of this insane ICE overreach. Talk to me about where that stands right now and what you guys are thinking about pushing back on with that.
Yeah, so a couple of things. Listen, we shouldn't even call them Republicans. We shouldn't call them MAGA. We should just call them hypocrites, right? or we could just call them just straight up lawless hypocrites, right? Because what has been revealed is that they do not care about breaking laws. They don't care about breaking rules. They don't care about breaking anything, including our economy, as evidenced, right? So they are just going in and they are breaking everything. And then they want to come out and sell you this book of goods and be like, listen, it's beautiful. It's kind of like the way that he named his big bad breaking ass bill, right? Like it's all it is like breaking stuff, right? He's like, oh, it's a beautiful bill. No, bro, it's not. There's nothing beautiful about it, honey.
Not a bit.
Right? And so like that is what we consistently see out of the Republicans. And I think that we need to consistently kind of make sure that we are highlighting that like this is obviously a bigger deal. I sat on oversight last term. We dealt with Hunter Biden and them saying that they were going to impeach President Biden over and over and over. They never brought the impeachment to the floor for a vote, but they had these hearings consistently where they were going after the president by going after his son, saying that because he sat on a board, then it must have been something nefarious that was happening in Burisma and all of the things, right? Now, in broad daylight,
right?
This fool is like, listen, I want a new plane. And listen, I've been on Air Force One. Truly, I won't be
it's
on.
It's a nice ride.
I was like, oh, this fancy. I mean, like, listen, I'm talking about the carpet is more plush than what you got in your crib right now. I mean, it is not the bed, like the level of stabilization, like it literally is like a flying castle. Okay, like when we board our flights, our commercial flights, most of us, right? Like you feel every bump. Okay, you feel everything. You don't feel anything. I'm like, oh, we're on the ground. We landed.
No,
like
we landed.
You feel nothing. It is like the biggest, but yet like most comfy, cloudiest ride. And so, I did not realize that we had paid for a Boeing plane. So there is a new Air Force
There's
One
two of them coming, actually.
that's coming. And I'm like, well, this seems like it's wasting money. Number one, because we already paid for one. So what you doing? Number two, we can get to the Constitution that y'all seem to love only when you're talking about the Second Amendment. I don't even know if they know that any other amendments even apply, because they did
The guys who carry the little constitutions in their pockets all the time, they don't seem to read many of the other amendments.
And then they misinterpret the Second Amendment anyway. But that's the only one you ever hear them screaming about. You ain't gonna hear them screaming about the 13th, the 14th, the 5th. They ain't gonna scream about that. So like, it's like due process. What's that? Read a Constitution. You know, they want to talk birthright citizenship. What's that? Read a Constitution. Like, bro, like literally, like they do not care about the Constitution, or they just don't know. And
they think it's a Chinese menu. They can pick one from column A, one from column B.
Right. Yeah, no, they literally, I promise you, like they only talk about the Constitution for like one amendment. So anyway, so I say that all to say that we have that lane and we need to talk about it. We need to talk about him violating the emoluments clause. We need to explain to the American people, forget even the name of it, just know he violating the Constitution, and that the rule is to make sure that we do not have a president that has been compromised in any way. Our founders thought it would be smart to say, hey, if you are trying to accept a gift of any kind, $50 worth of a gift, okay, then what you have to do is you have to come and get permission from Congress. That's it. So Congress is supposed to look over it. So like, you know, in the founders' great wisdom, they probably would have thought that Congress would have had their own backbones and recognized that they were a separate but equal, equal branch of government. You know, so right now he could get through whatever level of corruption he wants to get through anyway. So just go on and take it to us. Go on and make them vote for it. Make them vote to give you this plane from the Qataris and Mr. I am the king of Signalgate administration, right?
Yeah.
Like, are you crazy? Like,
you're going to take a plane that's been over with their Iranian and Chinese allies hanging out. Sounds secure to me.
Sounds like it makes sense. Like, this is how dumb he is. This is why it's like, no, don't police my language, because he's an idiot and he only has like a third grade vocabulary. But then on the other side of it, on Tuesday of next week, I am actually supposed to have a hearing. And it is about my colleagues, seemingly, in some way, in this New Jersey issue. So I am the ranking member on the subcommittee for oversight for judiciary.
Right.
So I sit on the oversight committee and I'm on subcommittees, but then I sit on judiciary and I am the ranker for the subcommittee on oversight on judiciary. Right. Okay. So I get notice today of a hearing having to do with ICE not being able to do their job or something. I don't know. Anyway, because like when they send you a hearing notice, it's like something very vague. And the chairman is from New Jersey. So I was like, this sounds like y'all about to go after my colleagues.
They're going after your colleagues.
So I'm not going to give away everything that I have planned. But I will say that picking a fight with me and giving an opportunity to be in defense of people that are on the right side of history, man, I miss the courtroom. So this gonna be down my lane. So I am ready. So we are gonna work on that. So that hearing is gonna take place on Tuesday afternoon. And in addition to that, I know a lot of people don't understand that during Trump 1.0, there were issues with ICE. If y'all remember the babies in cages, there were issues with ICE back then. And so they actually passed a bill in which members are allowed to go at any time and actually do oversight. And so these members had done that before. It is their obligation, not only because of the oaths that they have taken, as members of Congress, but it is literally written in specifically about ICE because there were issues with the conditions and they wanted to make sure that members of Congress could always. So this is exactly what they were doing. And these members have done this in New Jersey before with no problems. And of course, we saw the Mayor Baraka today release the video footage of them literally like letting him in.
Unbelievable. Well, Jasmine Crockett, my friend Claire Dewar from down there in Dallas said you were going to be a fireball. She was absolutely right. I am so glad you came on the show today. Thank you so much. Really appreciate what you do every day. And I look forward to talking to you again soon.
Absolutely. Great to see you.
Thanks so much.